Good evening, Valerie Milano, the Hollywood Times. I'm in Phoenix right now. Otherwise, I'd be in LA with our guests. I'm going to let them go ahead and introduce themselves. Thank you, guys.
Take it away, John.
Sure. I'm Jonathan Andre Culleton. I am the director and co-writer of Spookable.
Yes, and I'm Marvel Rex. I am the actor. I play Sean in Spookable and the co-writer of the script and the screenplay. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you
Yeah.
guys again for joining us tonight, today, whatever it is out there.
Wherever
Um,
we are in the woods. Yep. Yep.
and it's going to be showing at Frameline in San Francisco. So I
Yes.
believe you're going to be
Yeah.
flying there soon, right? Like tomorrow?
John and I are doing a tag team. So I'm flying there tomorrow morning for the first round of screenings, and then John will be there on the 28th, 29th for the second round of screenings at Frameline. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Well,
can't get
Yeah.
enough.
yeah, exactly. Well, y'all can bounce off each other with these questions because some are for both of you and some
Sure.
aren't. But so the trans actors are very interesting. Playing in and of themselves. How did you find these two actors, and why did you cast them in the short film?
Go for it, John.
Sure. Well, we we knew about Alexandra from Transparent, which Zachary, I believe, was an EP on. So our producer was an executive producer on that. So we knew of Alexandra, or we knew we could get in touch with her, I guess, from that. But we were sort of mildly obsessed with her from her turn on Drunk History, where she played Marsha P. Johnson. So that show, of course, like is like a they dub it, and the narrator is drunk, etc. So it's not even like her using her normal voice, but I was just so bowled over by her facial expressions and how good she was at comedy, which is not something that a lot of trans actors get to try. So we were like, this is definitely our Tamina. And then Reed, I believe we just knew through the tree of trans masculinity that we're all part of. And we just got to know them, and they ended up being an amazing character actor, which is what you need when it's sort of a three-in-one character.
Yeah. Yeah. Reed was such a like a incredible he's sort of a he was a hidden treasure. Like he hasn't really had a ton of like air time on the air, and John actually I think found him first, and we just had a Zoom with him and we're like, oh, you're perfect because he just his character voices, he's so dynamic. And yeah, I of course, part of the trans crew and or trans cast rather and crew, but as cast, I wanted to play a character, a trans masculine character who wasn't just sad. It was really great to play a trans character that was comedic, and John and I really meet at the comedy level because I think we both believe that comedy is a revolution in terms of activism and trans experience. Like comedy is the way forward. Yeah.
So, why did you want to make a spoof of a typical horror movie and turn the stereotypical tropes of horror films, on their head?
Go for it, John.
Our
Yeah.
number one influence is Scary Movie. We were so obsessed with the idea of having a genre where we could kind of do anything, especially because there's sort of like a lot of room to play for horror fans. Like they'll accept horror comedy. They don't really care. They just want some, body horror and weird goopy substances. So we thought maybe we'd make craft this movie and they'd accept it for that, and they wouldn't care about all that, like gender talk that we wanted to do underneath the surface of the script.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean yeah, absolutely. I agree with all of that, John. And also, there's not a ton of trans representation, particularly trans masculine representation, and it is often following kind of tropes still in a lot of ways. And when you get to go into a genre space, whether it's crime comedy, horror, film noir, it's you get to play. You get to play at, kind of similar to what John said. And, you know, we also were strategic. We were like, horror audiences, whether they're trans or not, will pay attention based on it them being just a loyal fan base. And what an amazing way to get trans people in front of a diverse audience who still is going to watch the whole thing through and be like, oh, I want to see what happens because this is so weird, you know. um and yeah, I think we should mention, because he totally haunts this. We just have to put out the Pope of Trash, which is John Waters. You know, John Waters is a huge influence for both John and I. Just being so weird and like no rules. Like there shouldn't be rules. We've already broken all the rules because we're trans. So let's have fun.
So tell us a little more about how you tackled the werewolf theme in a different way that it has been done in other queer film.
Yeah, go for it, John. Yeah.
How, how to talk about this delicately. Yeah, we talked about transference a lot, so we were thinking about the bite is a very intimate, way to transfer in typical werewolf stories. But then we just started talking about, what are we obsessed with as trans men? What are parts of the typical masculine experience? And what are those things that would be funniest to lampoon? So the idea of this cave that is full of, let's say, serum, that makes an analogy to certain bodily fluids, but also to testosterone, which we eject in ourselves every week. So there were all these analogies that seemed sort of ripe, along with the idea that we were transitioning medically and we were getting hairier and we were hungrier and more sex obsessed. So we wanted to sort of put that in a stew but make it really weird in a Rocky Horror level to again have fun.
Yeah, I love that. I just want to piggyback. I have one thing to say to that because you said it perfectly, which is just like, we wanted to lampoon. It's exactly that. We wanted to lampoon the kind of like most stereotypical things around masculinity or current tropes of masculinity, but from this like really weird, trashy perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, in this short film, part of a larger web series, is it part of a larger web series or a standalone?
Do we answer that?
So yeah, that question will be answered by the industry, hopefully. But what we can say for now is that we have a feature script, television episodes, and we were challenged a few years ago to make a proof of concept by people that were really interested, and we really hope that this proof of concept is something that helps either a TV show or a movie take off. So we're in the ... phase, but just like with anything, if people are enthusiastic about it, and if people really want trans stories to sort of go beyond, then show enthusiasm for this short, and hopefully they'll see the value in it.
Yeah, we have this wonderful feature film written already, and we've gotten close to it, really coming into fruition. It's been such a gauntlet as it is in the industry, particularly in this climate. So we'll see, to be continued. But the feature film has werewolves, vampires, a thing that John created called a witch lock, which is a warlock and a witch lock. You should probably copyright that, John. A shapeshifter. I mean, the feature film is so ambitious and so insane, and would be honestly a gift to the world, and a gift to horror fans. It's not just a gift to trans people, it's a gift to the world, because it's what Hollywood needs. Instead of pumping out more Marvel movies, to toot my own damn horn, but like, instead of pumping out more Marvel movies, we need something wild and wacky, like a spookable feature. That's what we need. Yeah.
Before I want to talk about a scene, I want to talk about Alexandra for a second. Like, why did she act on her crushing when the werewolf, when you were only the werewolf? You get what I'm saying? You were the werewolf and you were the person.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only time she really.
Yeah, extreme emotions. I think she just had some extreme emotions. Sometimes we all need a push, right? And I feel like she's also going on these trips with him, being like, well, maybe something will just happen, this time I'll just like stumble and he'll catch me and then we'll kiss. So I think she's in that bad place that we've all been, just crushing on someone and not making great decisions. But then, it's like he has other problems now. Maybe this is a good time. So yeah, I think a lot of people are like, Alexandra is, maybe too good for Sean, maybe too smart for this character. But we've all fallen for that boy,
Yeah. Yeah.
Scenes in the cave. This is going to be a little lengthy because I didn't know how to quite word it. The scenes in the cave in the woods are sexually charged, with the cave being a fantastical. This is the way I saw it. Now I could be totally wrong. Let me start
Yeah,
over.
please.
Okay.
I love this. Please go ahead. Yes.
This is a fun interview for me as well. The scenes in the cave in the woods are sexually charged, with the cave being a fantastical vagina lubricated with dripping stalactites and more than suggestive of sex. How did you come up with the idea of making the cave a giant uterus of transformative power fit into a semi-erotic tale?
Oh my God, you're my hero.
Yeah, I think that you just blew my mind. Like, I'm like, okay, logging off. Like, I am so. Go ahead, John, please. I can't speak.
Yeah. Gosh, the honest answer to that question was that when we talked about the transference via the same substance, then we were like just working on the cave scene, and somebody, I don't know if anybody's gonna gonna admit this, but somebody said, what if it was just full of it? And then, we thought it's like, we wrote in the script that it's the Neo moment. So if you look at the scene where, Sean is in the bowl, and then you look at the Matrix when Neo wakes up, that's a pretty direct shot, for a couple of shots. And so that's a rebirth, that's a substance kind of thing. So we were doing that, to make an homage to our wonderful Wachowski sisters, who are our greatest directors among trans people, basically. And so I just, I thought, this would be fun to have this visual, because we're always just trying to think visually. So it's like not a little bit, it's all of it. And you can read into it what you will, but I'm incredibly satisfied that that's what you read into it.
Yeah, and I would say on that note, what you said, I just want to say, like, what you said was so beautiful. My jaw dropped. Like, I'm speechless still a little bit. I'm regaining speech. What you said was so beautiful, and I actually think that you just sparked for me maybe some of the underlying feelings that John and I had while writing, which was like the trans male experience, the trans masculine experience is like we approach masculinity through a feminine container, through a feminine like foundation, and that is Sean's experience in the cave. Like, I love the idea that it's a giant vagina uterus thing, and then he's like having this experience and like orgiastically comes out of it and is transformed and is never the same. And in the feature, actually, John really baked this in beautifully to the writing. In the feature, like, Sean has an entire arc with his masculinity after he becomes a werewolf. We don't get to see that in the short film, but in the feature, he has this whole arc, and I won't spoil too much, but it's beautiful what you said, because it links to him softening his masculinity and actually becoming a lot more humble and maybe in some ways feminine too. So it's interesting. It's an interesting arc in the feature length film.
It can be serious, but it's also what it is.
Yes, exactly. It's deep and it's also corny as hell. Yeah, exactly. We got it. Yep.
It's me with a bowl in my garage and glue, just tipping it over in front of green screen and then sending it to the VFX guy. That's also what it is. But I appreciate your comment so much.
Yes, and I'll say it this way too, Valerie. Like John, without saying too much, John and our production designer have an entire email thread, and the amount of the time in that email thread where they use the word cum, I don't even know if I can say it on YouTube, but like just that amount of time where because the production designer had to make all that goop, and so it's like, what were we calling it?
Yeah,
And it's just like a PR nightmare.
we
It's
couldn't
like
make goop stick. Nobody was using it, so we just called it what it was. A spade is a spade.
a spade is a spade. Yes.
So how can our readers and our viewers find you guys on social media, the website, the film, what? I know they're going to want to hear more about it.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I hope so. Well, we've got the URL up,
Oh,
right?
yes. Yes.
Spookablefilm.com, I think.
It's spookablefilm.com. I'll throw it in the chat. It's here, and that you can keep following there, spookablefilm.com. We're going to try to show in as many festivals in the US and in Europe as we can. So we're really looking at both queer and horror festivals across the US so that people get a chance to look at it. And then, John and I are looking at getting it picked up by a distributor / Hulu does some shorts. So we'll see if we can get it on a streaming service as well in this modern day and age so that people can watch it,
And
we're
it'll
also
be streaming as part of Frameline 48 as well.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Oh yeah, people can watch it at Frameline online. Exactly.
Guys, and what
Online, yeah.
and what you might be doing next. How can everybody find you guys?
Yeah, you go, John.
Sure. Yeah, well, I have my Prodco is always making films. So we have Willa Justice Drag Queen Private Eye coming out. I think that's going to premiere at Out on Film or Utah Queer Film Festival, whichever one's first. And then we have a new one called Outage with Emmett Preciado, who's a great up-and-coming transmasculine actor as well from ABC's Good Trouble. So that's what I'm producing for director Graham Colby and Still Love My Life. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. We're just making more queer film. That's what we're doing all the time.
Yeah. And you can follow me at Marvel A Rex on all the socials. And I have a horror feature coming out on a streaming service to be announced. I can't announce it yet. First major feature film, which is super exciting. I'm also always working on a documentary. So you can follow me at marvelarex.com. I should say it's MARVAL, not EL, because you're not going to find me with the EL. It's Marvel A Rex. Yeah.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Maybe I'll take it over. Yes.
Our YouTube's the Hollywood Times Official, and our website's hollywoodtimes.net. So we're going to be promoting your film, and it'll be out soon. And thank you so much for your time and your creativity, and keep us posted for your future work, please.
Yes. Thank you, Valerie. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marvel and John.
You were so lovely.
Excellent.
Yes, so lovely. Have fun in Arizona, right? Arizona? Yes.
Arizona right now, but I'm sure I'll see you in LA. I hope to.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
In person.
In person.
Right.
Yes.
Cheers.
We'll be in touch soon.
All right. Bye.